In a realm where the enigmatic witches exist, harnessing unfathomable powers, society had labeled them as the embodiment of demons. Enter our protagonist, Chen Yan, a modern engineer thrust into the depths of a medieval era, inhabiting the body of a noble prince. Driven by an unyielding determination, Chen Yan resolved to unite cutting-edge industrial advancements with the mystical prowess of the witches, envisioning a formidable realm and a witch harem. The tale commences with a peculiar sensation. Chen Yan felt a pair of hands beckoned and whispered into Chen Yan's ears, waking up him from slumber. "Wake up, Your Highness." Groggily, he pried his eyes open, confronted by a bewildering haze of confusion. Perched upon a chilling, metallic seat, in his very own eye, sees a strange landscape, small wooden and brick buildings. Suddenly, a torrent of memories flooded his consciousness, connecting the dots with a startling revelation. He now inhabited the body of Roland Wimbledon, the fourth prince hailing from the illustrious Grey Castle. Ushered into a world where the proclamation of the fight for the throne decree loomed large, a decree devised by Roland's own father, signifying a perilous struggle to determine the rightful heir to the kingdom's coveted throne. In Grey Castle, the monarch, Roland's father, devised a momentous challenge to ascertain the worthiness of his 5 offspring as potential heirs. Each of them was entrusted with a distinct territory, where they would undertake the arduous task of governance for a span of 5 years. With this crucible of rule, the monarch will choose the successor. Embracing his new identity as Roland, our protagonist soon realized that this was no mere real-time strategy video game. The playing field was far from level, as the initial conditions and circumstances for each contender were not equal. And thus, we are introduced to Roland's siblings. The eldest prince, endowed with unparalleled martial prowess, stands as a towering figure of physical strength, yet oftentimes his brawn surpasses his wit, earning him the reputation of a muscle-headed warrior. The second prince, on the other hand, possesses boundless wealth and resources, granting him a position of immense influence. However, beneath his opulent facade lurks a sinister nature, weaving a web of deceit and cunning that sets him apart from his siblings. The third princess emerges as a formidable force, her military acumen and commanding presence surpassing all expectations. With an untamed ferocity burning within her, she is a force to be reckoned with on the battlefield, leaving no room for weakness or compromise. The youngest princess radiates brilliance and intellect. Her mind is a wellspring of knowledge and astuteness. Lastly, we encounter Roland, the fourth prince, whose character has embraced a life of indulgence and recklessness. Who loves courting death, he finds solace in the pursuit of pleasure, leaving many to question his commitment and capability to seize the throne. He found himself assigned to a desolate border town, a place so forsaken that even a bird would refuse to relieve itself there. It was an underdeveloped, sparsely populated town plagued by poverty, where excrement was carelessly strewn about. Roland instinctively covered his head, fully grasping the wretchedness of his predicament. Before he could complete his thoughts, elderly man implored Roland to initiate the execution. Taking a survey of his surroundings, Roland noticed a gathering of people in the central square, all fixated on a particular spot. It was the gallows, a medieval contraption reserved for the punishment of criminals. A figure wearing a grimy gray shirt and a hemp robe, hands bound behind her back, was unmistakably female, with her slender frame, raised chest, and flowing linen hair, billowing in the wind. Roland's mind recoiled at the inhumanity of the situation, struggling to fathom how anyone could believe in such absurdity. "Release that witch!" Roland's voice reverberated with conviction, shocking his minister, his guards, and the town's residents. In an attempt to downplay his outburst, Roland feigned fatigue, suggesting a postponement of the execution to another day. Unexpectedly, his trusted knight, Carter, stepped forward, vehemently opposing Roland's decision. With the witch's identity already confirmed, Carter argued that she must be put to death, fearing that other witches might attempt a rescue. Roland couldn't help but internally scoff at the sight of a knight, whose arm dwarfed the torso of an average person, cowering before girls half his size. Resolute in his stance, Roland turned away, declaring that it would be wiser to lure out more witches, enabling them to capture them all at once. Without further explanation, he retreated to his dilapidated castle, closing the door behind him and releasing a weary sigh. It dawned on him that he must have died from overworking, and been transported to this unfamiliar world. With time, Roland managed to overcome his initial fear of the unknown, took a deep breath, and accepted his identity in this new world. Eager to uncover more about this mysterious world, Roland embarked on a quest for knowledge. Later that day, accompanied by Carter, his trusted chief knight, Roland descended the stairs of the border town's prison. All the while, Carter persistently warned of the peril posed by a witch. However, Roland couldn't resist taunting his own knight, playfully questioning how the formidable Carter could possibly be afraid of a mere girl. Eventually, they reached the lower level of the prison. Within a cramped cell enclosed by sturdy metal bars, a young woman huddled in a corner, clad in the same worn and tattered gray shirt. As she stood up and locked eyes with Roland, he felt a blush creeping onto his cheeks. The young lady possessed a captivating beauty, her eyes a serene shade of light blue, resembling a calm and undisturbed lake. No trace of fear, anger, or hatred tainted her gaze. Summoning the courage to approach her, Roland requested that she come closer, eager for a closer examination. However, Carter swiftly positioned himself in front of Roland, adamantly forbidding the girl from drawing near. He reiterated his warnings about the inherent danger of a witch. Unperturbed, Roland tapped Carter on the shoulder, urging him to calm down. Turning his attention back to the young woman, Roland kindly asked to hear her story. With a soft voice, she introduced herself as Anna. She explained that her father had worked in the local mine, which tragically collapsed, leaving him trapped inside. Seizing the opportunity, a fellow miner attempted to steal the valuables from her father's possession. However, this act of greed was witnessed by a neighboring couple. In a fit of rage, the thief brandished a pickaxe, assaulting the couple. But just as he sought to deliver a fatal blow, Anna's witch abilities wakened, and she unleashed a deadly power, incinerating the thief. They proceeded to rescue Anna's father from the collapsed mine, and in a desperate plea, Anna begged the neighbor not to report her as a witch. Roland inquired how she ended up here, and it was revealed that her own father had reported her to the authorities. Carter, upon hearing Anna's confession, once again implored Roland to carry out her execution. Yet, Roland's curiosity was piqued, and he remained intrigued by the extent of the witch's powers. Anna's reaction was unexpected. She burst into laughter, mocking Roland and questioning his desire to witness the so-called powers of the devil. Undeterred, Roland stood firm and insisted on witnessing her abilities firsthand. Anna wore a locket that supposedly contained a seal of a witch's power. Surprised by Roland's audacity, she stared directly into his eyes and warned him that his curiosity might lead to his demise. Before Anna could finish her sentence, Roland reached out and forcefully tore the locket apart. The bewildered expression on Anna's face mirrored her astonishment as Roland discarded the broken locket, urging her to demonstrate her power once more. Within seconds, the cell filled with warmth as flames ignited beneath Anna's bare feet. Bursting forth in a dazzling display of light, the sight left Roland in awe. He struggled to comprehend what he was witnessing. Was it chemistry, advanced technology, or true magic? Anna, now standing before the melted metal bars, began to burn the robe still bound behind her back. She raised her hand and approached Roland step by step. At that moment, the flames dissipated, leaving behind only smoke and the scent of burnt metal. Roland finally confirmed the existence of magic in this world. He felt no fear or trepidation. Instead, he was filled with boundless excitement, contemplating the myriad possibilities that Anna's powers held: steam engines, steel smelting, iron casting, and the creation of modern tools. Anna gazed at him, asserting that she had satisfied his curiosity and implored him to end her life. Observing the vulnerable yet resilient girl, scarcely clothed, Roland removed his jacket and placed it over Anna's shoulders. Extending his hands, he confidently announced his decision to employ her. Having witnessed Anna's extraordinary power, Roland's mind raced, contemplating the second law of thermodynamics, which stated that the entropy of the universe would always increase over time in an isolated system. However, in this world infused with magic, such problems could easily be overcome. Even more impressive than the invention of the perpetual motion machine, Roland's decision to hire a witch left Berev in a state of utter shock. Unwilling to provide a detailed explanation, Roland immediately instructed Berev to draft an employment contract and arrange living quarters for Anna. As they left the prison, the minister persisted in trying to convince Roland of the dangers posed by witches, warning him about the risks involved. Roland interrupted the minister, expressing his view that witches were not demons or monsters. He pointed out their lack of resources, money, and an army, and emphasized the need for witches to compete with his siblings. Roland urged people to abandon their prejudice against witches. The minister was astounded by Roland's impassioned speech. Roland then requested that the minister bring Anna to see him. Meanwhile, Anna was being attended to by two maids who bathed and dressed her in a work outfit. Anna felt a bit shy upon seeing the unfamiliar attire, but she resolved to put it on. Outside the residence, a maid guided Anna toward Roland. Roland and Carter stood before a wooden shack they had built for Anna to practice smelting. Shortly thereafter, Anna arrived, clad in her new outfit. As Roland beheld Anna with her long, silky hair and radiant appearance, a beautiful bloom in his eyes, he felt a slight blush creeping onto his cheeks. Roland was certain he had made the right decision. He deemed the typical worker's outfit too mundane and the magician's robes too cumbersome, but the maid's uniform was perfect for Anna. Curious about why Roland was treating her so well and going as far as signing a contract with her, memories flashed through Anna's mind, reminding her of how terribly she had been treated after others discovered she was a witch. Roland extended his hand once again, confidently stating his disbelief in such nonsense. He expressed his trust in Anna and her abilities. Something ignited within Anna's gaze as she placed her hand atop Roland's, promising to assist him and learn how to control and harness her powers. Inside the wooden shack, steam filled the room as Anna practiced controlling her abilities. With each failure, flames would erupt from her feet, expanding and enveloping her entire body. Suddenly, in a mishap, Anna lost control of the fire, causing her clothes to be singed once again. Just then, a loud knock resounded, followed by Carter and the minister sprinting towards the shack, reporting the presence of demonic beasts as discovered by a patrolling squad. Everyone, including Anna, was filled with shock and concern. However, Roland remained perplexed, questioning, "What are demonic beasts?" From now on, we will refer to the minister by his real name. Barkov frankly opened the door and reported to Roland, informing him, "The month of the demon is coming soon." The month of demon? Roland thought for a moment, slowly remembering this phrase, but still confused. Roland looked towards Anna. Anna seemed frightened, and from the look of her, Roland recognized the seriousness of the situation. Barkov then explained that the month of the demon occurs during winter time after the first snowfall. The sun would become faint and dim, then the gates connected to hell within the mountain will then open. Unfortunately, the border town does not have the capability to defend. Thus the residents of the border town must migrate to the nearest stronghold, which is the Canggu stronghold. Barkov also reassured Roland that his safety will always be a priority. Roland asked Barkov if he have seen the gate of hell before. Barkov frankly replied, "It's impossible for an ordinary person to see it. The Long G mountain is impossible to climb over, and going near the mountain will also be influenced by the evil aura, causing nausea and potentially making a man goes mad and lose its consciousness. Unless..." Barkov paused. Roland asked him to go on. Barkov looked at Anna then said, "Unless that person is a witch, only witches can see the gate of hell, because they are already infected." After hearing what Barkov said, Roland wasn't pleasant but continued asking about the demonic beast. Because this was also the first time Barkov had been to the border town, he had not seen any demonic beasts before and thus can't answer most of Roland's questions. After gathering the basic info, Roland started to organize his thoughts. If the residents here need to migrate every year, then it's impossible for the town to grow. Since Canggu Stronghold are able to defend against the demonic beast, that means the beasts can be defeated. Since they are not invincible, why can't we defeat them here in the border town? Barkov started sweating nervously and frankly told Roland, "Unlike Changji Stronghold, we don't have the big tall walls or the elite troops guided by Duke Ryan." Roland frowned his brows and sneered, finally understanding that the border town was built at this exact location for one sole purpose only, that is to be used as an alarm warning the stronghold. If Roland wanted to properly develop the border town, he must have his roots here. He can ignore all obstacles, but he needs the people to stay here. He then ordered Barkov to bring all the local guards, hunters,